Speak daily English. Real English every day.
You know, we often think that being a great communicator means you need this huge, impressive vocabulary. But what if that's not it at all? What if mastering just a handful of simple but really strategic phrases could completely change how you interact with people? I mean, truly unlock a whole new level of social intelligence.
Have you ever had that feeling where you're saying all the right things, but the words just fall flat? You know what I mean. Your message is technically accurate, but it just doesn't connect. Or even worse, it kind of creates a little bit of awkwardness. Well, that gap, the one between just talking and actually connecting, that's exactly what we're going to close today. So here's the plan. We're going to build out your own social toolkit. First, we'll cover how to handle social friction. Then we'll get into managing plans when things are a little uncertain. And finally, we'll talk about the language of rapport. By the end, you'll see how these simple tools really work together to make every conversation better. All right, first up, navigating social friction. This is all about how to be honest without being harsh. Because saying no or delivering news someone doesn't want to hear, well, it's tricky. But with the right tools, you can do it with grace.
Okay, so the first tool in our kit is the phrase, "I'm not really a fan of." This is just the perfect way to politely turn something down. Instead of a hard no or a blunt "I hate that," this phrase softens everything. It frames your response as a personal preference, not as a judgment on their taste or their idea. Just think about the difference here. "I hate horror movies." That's a conversational dead end. It's so blunt. But "Thanks, but I'm not really a fan of horror movies." See how much smarter that sounds? You're still saying no, but you're doing it gently, and it keeps the door open to suggest something else. The whole vibe stays positive.
Our next tool is, it's not a big deal. Think of this as your social fire extinguisher. When someone makes a small mistake and they're apologizing, this phrase immediately puts out any little spark of tension. It's a sign of generosity that basically says, hey, we're good, don't even worry about it. You've been there, right? Someone spills coffee and you say, it's okay, but it can feel a little strained, maybe even a bit passive-aggressive. But adding, don't worry, it's not a big deal, genuinely lifts that weight right off their shoulders. It's an active move that makes them feel truly forgiven.
Here's a really powerful one. "I'm swamped." Look, we're all busy, but just saying "I'm busy" can come across as a brush-off. Swamped, on the other hand, it paints a picture. It tells them you're not just occupied, you're literally overwhelmed. And that makes it so much easier for them to understand why you can't help.
It really is all about giving that little bit of context. "Sorry, I'm busy" just feels vague, maybe even a little dismissive. But "I wish I could help, but I'm swamped with these reports," now that shows goodwill. It shows you respect the person who's asking, even when you have to say no. Okay, so we've navigated a bit of friction. Let's move on to managing uncertainty. This is the art of being flexible without coming across as flaky or non-committal. And honestly, that is a really tricky balance to get right. You've probably heard this one, but it's a true classic. Let's play it by ear. This phrase is such a beautiful way to suggest flexibility. It basically says, hey, I'm in for the plan, but let's not get locked into every single detail just yet. We can adapt as we go. It signals a really relaxed and collaborative attitude. The difference in energy here is just huge, isn't it? "We need to decide now" feels so rigid. It creates pressure. But "I'm not sure how long dinner will take, let's play it by ear." That's just easygoing. It takes the uncertainty and turns it into a flexible, shared thing instead of a problem to be solved. Now, this next one is incredibly nuanced and very useful. I'm having second thoughts. This is not the same as blurting out, "I've changed my mind." This phrase signals that you're still in the process of reconsidering something. It's an invitation to talk about it, and it shows respect for the original plan and everyone involved.
Imagine just dropping a bomb like, "I'm not moving to Chicago anymore." That's so abrupt, it just slams the door on the conversation. But saying, "Actually, I'm having second thoughts about moving to Chicago," is completely different. It tells them what's going on in your head and invites them to ask, "Oh, really? What's on your mind?" The connection stays intact.
All right, here's a fantastic phrase for handling advice you didn't ask for. I'll keep that in mind. It is the perfect way to acknowledge someone's suggestion with respect without making any promises that you'll actually do it. It shows that you've heard them and you value their input. A simple, yeah, maybe I'll try that, can sound so dismissive, can it? But adding, thanks for the recommendation, I'll keep that in mind. That validates the other person. You're giving them credit for their suggestion, which strengthens your connection, whether you ever set foot in that restaurant or not. So, we've covered friction, we've covered uncertainty, and now for the best part, the language of rapport. These are the tools we use to actively build stronger, more positive, and more trusting relationships with people. First up, a very small phrase that has a huge impact. It's on me. When you offer to pay for coffee or lunch, this little phrase totally transforms what's happening. It turns a simple financial transaction into a gesture of friendship, of appreciation. It's warm, it's casual, and it's all about the relationship. I will pay for this meal is so formal. It sounds like a business deal. It gets the job done, sure, but that's about it. Compare that to the warmth of, hey, don't worry about the bill. It's on me tonight. That's not really about the money. It's a message that says, I value you, and this is my treat. And our final tool is one of my absolute favorites. I'm all ears. This is so much more powerful than just saying, I'm listening. It's an active invitation. It signals that you are literally setting everything else aside to give someone your complete, undivided, and enthusiastic attention. A passive, I'm listening, can feel a little empty. Is the person really listening, or are they just waiting for their turn to talk? But when you say, you have an idea for the project? Great, I'm all ears. You communicate genuine interest. You make that person feel totally heard and really valued. So there you have it, your brand new social toolkit. You've got tools for handling friction like, I'm not a fan of, and it's not a big deal. You have your go-to phrases for uncertainty like, let's play it by ear. And of course, you've got those powerful connectors like, it's on me and I'm all ears. And remember, these aren't just words. They're not magic spells. They are signals. They are signals of respect, of flexibility, and of connection. And using them well, that's a true sign of high social and emotional intelligence.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is one conversation you have coming up this week, maybe at work, with a friend, or with family, that you could make just a little bit better by using one of these tools? Because that's where the real learning, the real mastery begins.